Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore coming at you, and we give a huge shout and out and thank you to those who give to us. If we want to give, the Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal links are below. Huge thank you to everyone because we just were able to get our daughter some new clothes, which is super cool. She is so super happy. She found Old Navy and she was just like, I have found my store that I love. She was like, basically, it's like, she's going to put all of her invested monies into Old Navy clothing. It's like her store right now. And so that was a huge blessing. So thank you. And yes, if you would like to give, click those links below because, stuff is always coming and going. Yeah? Huge thank you. Just, you can't even use words are not enough. And so, man, one of our friends from London, hello, she emailed me talking about this is the anniversary time for walking around Jericho. And this whole week has been a time where it feels like the warfare in the heart has been very intense. The enemy has been active, like he hasn't been active in a long time. Like, just stuff happening. Just like, what? Where is this coming from? Why is this happening? And it's just like, what is going on? And then in the very beginning of the week, Michelle felt like, I wonder if we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing this week is circling Jericho, because we went through this after Passover time, and I was like, okay, now it's time to circle Jericho. And I gotta tell you what, here on Friday night, I'm like, that is 100% the truth. We've just been circling and circling and circling. That's why some of the stuff that's been coming out with with one of my sons has just been coming out, because I feel like the Lord just got his hand on it and squeezing. That's why he told me to let go. He was like, hey, you did your job. Just stand back. Let me do mine. And God's just been squeezing. It's been really good. At first it seemed like, oh my gosh, but it's been really good because there's been there is a renewing and a humility and a leveling up into embracing more of reality and how things work. It's like, you're not a child anymore. You're going into manhood. This is how you have to do things. And it's been a rough transition, more for him than for us, but it's like, seems like so much stuff has been coming to a head this past week. And then on the prophetic numbers front, we just keep seeing the number 51, 51, 51. And I'm like, wow, what is going on? And then the number 51 has to do with overcoming enemies. We looked at this document by a guy named Dr. Stephen Jones, and we're just reading it, and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is exactly what's going on. There's just a sense of like dying to the self so that the spirit of life can bring about the activity and the activities and endeavors of the Spirit of God, the things that he wants to see happen in our lives individually and as a family and even as a nation, honestly. But man, this week, it has been a rough getting up and just being responsible, plowing the ground. Even doing these videos is part of what I do. It's part of the plowing. It's part of the work. It's part of the responsibility. It's part of the mandate and the mantle and all that stuff that God's given me. Because he said you have to do these things every day. And sometimes there are days, man, when I just want to get on here and I just want to let you guys, just watch me bawl and cry like a baby. That will be the video for the day. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's been so intense. But there's just been a sense of just like, no, shh, just let me do it. And that's kind of like that whole Jericho thing, right? It's just like I got this. I'm walking. And it also reminds me of when the Lord said he was going to go up to bat. He was going to hit the home run. And I'm just, there's all of these prophetic things when you get them. They're really hot on the griddle at the time, but then You're waiting to see him happen, and then God moves on to something else, and it's like, what? But, the word of the Lord will come to pass, right? But then this morning, I was in such a state of just heaviness, and it was just like, I felt like the Lord was like, so what's the enemy to overcome? What enemy do you need to overcome? And I had already been talking to him yesterday about finances and like what I want my financial future to look like, and just all the things that deal with me as being the financial leader of the family, but also being the leader in general of the family. And the best leader I can be is one who's led by the Spirit. And it's like, God, you've led us through all this. You've led us into all of this. And there's just been a big conversation, right? And just a trusting in the Lord. And he's always provided, always. No matter how low we get, he has always been there to provide. There was this moment in our journey, I think it was in, I forget what year it was in, but sometimes because of the way things worked, sometimes our account would go into the red, and then when we would get money, that money would only bring us our balance up to zero, and it was just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And we got to this moment where the Lord was like, you're never going into the red again. And from that moment to this day, it has literally never happened. I'm just trying to testify, okay? So don't take it any other way than that, okay? But there was a time not too long ago, a couple weeks ago or something, I think we literally had $2.82 in the bank. And the Lord was not leading me to do a Casting the Nets video. But at that time, someone had given to us who I'm pretty sure has never given to us before. And it was like this, it was a pretty decent amount. And I'm just like, whoa, this is exactly what we're needing, like, it was a really nice amount of money, couple $100, I'll say, a little more than a couple $100, but anyway, it was a very, very timely. So see, even in that, it's like being led by the Spirit is so key, because sometimes the Lord says, Dev, just go out and cast the net. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, we're low, I need to cast the net. And it's just like, no. See, that's how they won and lost wars in the Old Testament. You've got to go to the Lord with everything, because sometimes he's not trying to give you this routine that you just repeat over and over and over again. He wants it to be relational, and every moment that you go through in the Lord is not always the same. It's about relationship. Bring the living, ever-living Spirit of the Father into your situation right now, right here. What is he saying right here, right now? And just go through the adventure that all of that brings, And so even when we've been at our lowest, it's like God's always coming through. But it's like the whole process. I mean, we literally have come out here to die. Like they said, why did you bring us out in the wilderness to die? It's like, well, I didn't technically bring you out here to die, but there is a part of you that, yes, I want to die. The self part of you. The you there's so much of us that just, it's like, it's not the Lord. You think it's good, but it's actually not good because it's not God. And he wants to get those things out. The Lord can bring you into the wilderness for such a time as that. And so I'm just like, the whole process has just put me to death, but it's also, with the support raising and everything, but it's also prepared me for a greater glory that God's is going to reveal, And so when the Lord's asking me, like, what's the enemy to overcome? I'm just like, Lord, I don't know. For me, I think it's really grief, grief and sadness and heart sickness, because you've made us to desire, and creativity comes out of desire because we're made in the image of a creator who wants to create. Therefore, we're going to have desire. But on this side of heaven, on this side of eternity, we're going to struggle with the battle between the flesh and the spirit, right? And there's going to be a hope-deferred heart sickness until the desire is fulfilled. And when the desire is fulfilled, it's a tree of life. But you've got to stay in there and walk by faith and overcome, and then you receive. You can't quit and then still expect to receive, right? And so it says Abraham hoped beyond hope, and that's why he received the promises, And obviously he wasn't going to receive the fullness of it. He was just going to run his lap of the race and then hand the baton off to Isaac. But it was just going to continue. But Abraham did what was right in God's sight in his day, right? And so I was just talking to the Lord about all these things, and I was thinking, like, Lord, you know what? The truth of the matter is, anything. I felt like what the Lord showed me is that, like, a lot of these people of faith that we read about in the Bible, they all had this one particular thing that they were lacking. A lot of them had other things. Like, if you put them all in a room together, one would have money, but one would have children, and then one would have position, and one would have, you know what I'm saying? And so together they would be lacking nothing, right? But Abraham was lacking an heir. He was lacking a son. He was lacking the actual promise that he was given. Hannah, she lacked the same thing. What about the nation of Israel during a time of that great famine? Remember the 4 lepers? They were just lacking provision. And it's like the bottom line is anything can be your enemy. Your attitudes can be your enemy. And I was just thinking, like, Lord, anything could be the enemy. The bottom line is, I felt like the Lord was saying this. He was like, He is the provider for anything you need. He is the one who overcomes anything that raises itself to be like an enemy in your life. He's the one. And I think that's why we're walking around. We're walking around these issues, and we're seeing them, and we're hearing them bother us so much, because it's like God's like, I'm just showing you what I'm about to overcome in your life. I'm just showing you. I'm just putting my forthcoming accomplishments in context so that you know this is what I'm overcoming in your life. And so it's like God gave Isaac to Abraham and Sarah. There was a Samuel for Hannah and Elkanah. There was 4 lepers for that time of famine. God's like, here, I'm going to give you 4 lepers. Then they're going to go and find out all of this wealth that's just laying around. There's a nation, there's a time when the nation of Israel could not fight off one army. And then in 2 Chronicles 20, 3 of them are coming against. And it's like, oh my gosh. And the Lord's going, oh, that's great. You guys are about to have triple victory because you called on me. You're about to have victory over all 3. And I'm not going to do it a natural way. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it the supernatural way. I'm going to do it the miraculous way. And you guys are going to find great victory. And you're going to get all their stuff too. So it's like God is the one who overcomes. And when I said to the Lord, I'm really fast tracking all of this, believe it or not. And when I said to the Lord, I was like, Lord, it's like, what do we need to overcome? What enemy do we need to overcome? I was like, everything. And I felt like the Lord was like, that is the right answer. It's like He is the overcomer we need for anything and everything that comes into our life. He is the answer to every question. He is the one who's going to do it. He will provide the lamb. He will provide the child. He will provide the provision, the money. He will provide the connections. He will provide the locations. He will provide the supplies. He will provide His word. He will provide the wisdom. He will provide the light. You know what I'm saying? He will provide the people you need to build what you need to build. He will provide whatever you need. God will even direct you to things that seem completely insignificant to everyone else, but they're super important to you, and you need to know where that thing is, and God will lead you to it. He's the one He is the overcomer. you know. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you guys today. And that we are definitely in a marching around Jericho kind of time. And the Lord is displaying a lot of the enemies. A lot of the enemies have just come out to display themselves. You know, I think because we're so close. We're so close to this breakthrough time of the Lord. This time where God's going to just say, all right, boom, it's time to shout. We're going to give a shout. And then walls are going to come down miraculously. God's just going to knock them down. And then they're going to become ramps into the city. And so we're just going to see victory and breakthrough because God's going to go before us. Micah 2:13. The shepherd's going to go before us, and we're going to see great victory. And so I just pray that encouraged you guys today. And if you have any questions or anything you want to know, just write it in the comments. And we'll probably be sure to get to it. That doesn't make any sense. But see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.